You peek over the edge of a 20-story building. The sense of vertigo grips you tightly. You feel your afternoon bagel arising from your stomach. The world seems to spin as you look down at the tiny specks moving about hurriedly. You try to lean back before the spin causes you to fall or faint. Panic sets in. Your heart beats faster, your blood pressure rises, your breath quickens, and you feel a sense of weightlessness as you look over the edge. The sounds of the city around you seem to fill your ears as you squeeze your eyes shut. Yet the distance of these sounds does nothing to quell the feeling at the pit of your stomach. You retch instinctively from the experience, and your head begins to swim. Finally, after trying so hard to hold tightly to the pole at your back, doing your best to cling onto it, you feel your grip loosen. As your sweat turns against you, greasing the pole, making it impossible to hold on any longer. Your body begins to tense. Further, your hands seem to cramp, and before you can control it, you loosen your arms and start to tumble down. The first 5 stories, you scream, unable to halt the sound from coming out. Yet, you do not have the breath enough to continue. You hold your forearms in front of your face in a vain attempt to keep yourself from seeing the gray concrete as you fall continuously down. It seems like an eternity for the ground to come up. You attempt to reach out, hoping for something to latch onto, but nothing seems to come. Why the hell were you on the roof of your 20-story apartment complex? No one may ever know. But now, would that even matter? You jerk awake in the middle of the night, your arms and legs twitching reactively to the dream your brain has just created. The cold sweat that beads your face gives you a chill. You look groggily at the alarm clock next to your bed. 3:45 a.m. Lovely wake-up call to have just before therapy, you think sardonically. You twist the covers over you to try and get back to sleep. But you're far too anxious for the day that awaits you. Your psychologist would probably say that your dream was due to your anxiety manifesting itself, and there was nothing to worry about. She might be right, but then again, you never had a fear of heights. You're agoraphobic. Agoraphobia, an anxiety disorder according to your psychologist, is the fear of being in crowded and wide-open spaces. This didn't explain your fear of elevators, though the psychologist never asked where that fear came from. She only explained how to get rid of it. Your psychologist has chosen to use an in-vivo exposure therapy in order to help you conquer your fear, though you had no idea what any of that mumbo-jumbo meant. According to Dr. Matthews,
the therapy ensures that you're in a heightened state of anxiety so that you can learn to control yourself during one of these moments and ensure that you can overcome your fears with little risk of relapse.
You start feeling your eyes sag with exhaustion, unable to fight it any longer. Despite the anxiety you're feeling, you finally fall asleep. The appointment you have is for 1 o'clock, and you have 20 minutes to get to the office before you have to reschedule. You get prepared and head over, arriving just 5 minutes early. The secretary at the front desk retrieves a pen and asks you to sign in, and you wait in the quiet office with your eyes closed as you try to remain calm, awaiting the doctor. You took many precautions getting here, and you were able to avoid the lunch hour rush entirely, which meant no crowds, and the stairs would be completely free from people, as most of them would be using the elevator. Part of the reason you feared them anyway, you supposed? The doctor's office was usually on the 3rd floor. However, due to the nature of your therapy, you were informed during your last session to meet her up on the 10th floor. It was a much longer walk than usual. However, you'd grown accustomed to a long flight of stairs. your doctor comes out to greet you, a water bottle in hand. She is a 5'4" skinny brunette with her wide mouth set into a smile. You know what she's going to do with you today, and so her smile does not put you at ease. It only serves to increase the tension in your stomach.
Today,
begins Dr. Matthews,
we'll be working on increasing your anxiety levels and showing you that the anxiety won't hurt you. This is a completely painless process, and you'll find that the elevator won't harm you. We'll be able to shatter through the fear and anxiety in an instant.
The water bottle, she tells you, is caffeinated, and although it tastes terrible, you feel its effects almost instantaneously. Your stomach twists, you begin to sweat in anticipation, even your muscles can't seem to clench tight enough. Everything feels wrong. You can't stop moving, you're agitated, irritable, you're on the verge of tears, but you know that you have to face that door. You know that you will have to go down that elevator. Dr. Matthews leads you down the hall, and as soon as your eyes lock onto the elevator, your breathing increases. The idea of falling down the shaft filling your head with nightmarish visions of plunging to a most certain demise.
It's fine. It won't hurt you. Just keep calm. Come closer. See?
Dr. Matthews purrs calmly, recognizing through years of practice the signs of fear that you have been exuding. She puts her hand on your shoulder to reassure you that there is nothing to fear. She opens the door and steps inside, holding the door open for you to enter. You've practiced this part before, each time you break down before getting within 3 feet of the door. This time is no different. After 15 minutes, however, Dr. Matthews finally coaxes you into the elevator with her. You stand to the far corner, knowing that there's no salvation from the tomb if the door closes. But you still have a chance to escape as long as the doors are kept open. Dr. Matthew attempts to drop her fingers off the hold door button. Your hand shoots out to hold the door open until Dr. Matthews firmly puts your hand down to your side.
Everything will be okay. It's going to go smoothly,
she repeats. The door seals, and the feeling of being entombed worsens. You've been stuck in a rectangular metal box, and there is no escape. You attempt to rationalize this sense of dread, this overwhelming fear.
Nothing is going to happen,
your doctor states, seemingly able to vocalize your thoughts in an attempt to calm you. You hear the grating of steel, the turning of wheels, and then finally, the ding that you've made it all the way to the 9th floor. The door opens before you, and you see a few people going about their various appointments. One man sees you crying, cocks his head, and shakes it in pity before moving out of sight.
See?
Dr. Matthews continues, her eyes hopeful.
You're doing great. A few more floors and we'll go back up.
It continued this way for the next 10 minutes. Your anxiety finally draining from you. You feel comfortable. As you return to the 10th floor after the second trip down and up again, Dr. Matthews tells you that you're going to be going all the way down to the 1st floor on your own, and that you will return to the 10th floor on the elevator.
It'll be just a few quick drops, and then your fear will be crushed for good,
she reassures you. Before you can protest, the door shuts. The lights begin to dim a bit. They hadn't done that before, had they? The wheels seem louder, everything going at a breakneck speed. You tell yourself you're going to be okay, that everything is going to be fine, that you're being irrational again. But before you can calm yourself, the door opens, again to the 9th floor. You're relieved to see the ground and open space, and you want to leap out, but you're still frozen in terror. The doors close before you, leaving you in a state of panic. Your heart leaps into your throat, and just as suddenly, you're on the 8th floor. It continues this way until you reach the first floor. The panic starts to drain from you, slowly. That was it? It's over? The door opens and Dr. Matthews is waiting for you, beaming proudly at you for your work. She asks if you're up for another trip to the 10th floor, and you, feeling bolder now from the work, decided it would be a great idea. Dr. Matthews presses the large number 10 on the panel and waves as the door closes. Your heart rate slows and your breathing steadies. You're smiling to yourself, finally able to relax a bit. You know that the sounds are normal. There's nothing to be worried about. Your fear of elevators has subsided. You beam at yourself for your own courage, for undergoing such an immense task. As you wait for the elevator to slowly crawl up, patting yourself on the back for your progress, you hear the elevator groan, coming to a stop. You wait for a moment for the door to open, but nothing happens. What's going on, you say aloud, pressing the door open button. Before the fear takes over, you experience something new with the elevator. Anger. You furiously punch the button on the door release, but the door does not give way. Could this be some sick experiment? You try prying the doors open, but you've got neither the strength nor the grip to do so. You wait a few moments, slow panic starting to creep up on you, waiting for Dr. Matthews to open the door with a key, or a janitor waiting to comfort you for what has occurred. This was too much to be an experiment or a joke. It had to be. Just when you think you could take no more, you decide to try and press the button to the 9th floor. Maybe going down, you'll find that the door on the 10th floor was just stuck. As you press the button, you feel a sudden quick release, and before you know it, the elevator is falling at an alarming rate. You know you should have reached the 9th floor, but you feel the elevator continuing to fall, deeper into the shaft, to the lower levels of the building. You cling to the walls, much like you would have clung to the pole in your dream. You know it won't save you from the dizzying fall, but there is nothing more you can do. Your instincts scream to your body to try and grasp the walls of the metal tube, to no avail. Before the deafening crash and the explosion of pain, your last thought before the impact crushes and impales you is, I knew I should have taken the stairs.